Good morning, Daniel Swartz here from Wisconsin. Did you know you cannot make your kids love you? They are born loving you. The best you can do as a parent is to not mess up that love. Because kids love with a pure and untainted love. They love you just because you're their dad, just because you're their mom. And they hold you up high in their regard. You are their hero. And all you can do is to live up to the best you can do is to live up to those expectations and not let your children down. Now, I think because you're human, letting your kids down as they get older is inevitable. Because you're going to make mistakes and they're going to realize you maybe aren't quite the hero they had pictured. But that's okay, because that's reality. We're all human. As your kids develop and become adults, and they start to experience life as an adult, not as a sheltered child, they realize the struggles you as a parent went through. And then if you have done a really good job of not messing up too much, then your kids will gain a new appreciation for how you behaved as a parent. You're going to see this start happening probably, it depends on the person, but from mid-20s to mid-30s. Maybe some kids who were disillusioned with things will gain a new appreciation for what you went through and a new respect for you, but a different kind of respect. It's not like that adulation of a little child, but the respect from one grown person to another of how you handled life when they look back. That's when things go well. So I just wanted to lay that as a little foundation, because you as the parent, when your kids are young, you are the sole largest influence on your child's life, because you are the main adult that they hang around with in their developmental years when they are sponges. Your little child begins to absorb your behavior. You cannot behave a certain way, manage emotions a certain way, manage problems a certain way, and then try to teach your kids to do it a different way. It doesn't work. Your kids are sponges. They absorb your behavior. So if your little kids see you and your husband, your spouse, handle conflict extremely poorly, they will absorb it, and that's how they will behave, even if you try to tell them this isn't how you do it. If your little kids see you being extremely negative and hard on yourself, even though you might tell your kids you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're amazing, but you're really critical and hard on yourself, you never allow a compliment to you, you always deflect compliments, your kids will absorb that and they will copy it. You are the sole largest influence on your child and the most important one. So that brings me around to the main subject of this video. I'm going to try not to drag on too damn long like my other videos. If you are the parent of grown adult children and your relationship has turned sour, Take a long, hard look at how you raised your kid. Now, a lot of people, most people, who cast all the blame for the bad relationship between the parent and the grown adult child onto the grown adult child. They're the ones in the wrong. Because think about it. You as the parent built this new relationship with a brand new human being. You spent every day with that human being until they became an adult and moved out of your house. You developed that relationship. So the relationship you end up with when your adult child becomes grown is a relationship you built. So if it went sour, you have to ask yourself, where did I go wrong? It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be in the wrong. If you can honestly look at your mistakes, take accountability, and apologize. A person acknowledging the wrong that they have done and saying sorry and then taking steps to prevent it from happening in the future is an easy person to forgive. A person who denies responsibility, and tries to pass accountability on to everyone but them and is never in the wrong in their own mind is impossible to forgive. If you're the kind of person where people must pretend the problem doesn't exist to get along with you, you are the problem. So, if your adult child gains maturity and recognizes that some of these patterns of behavior are bad and speaks up and says, I do not believe that I wish this to continue in my life and I would like you to stop, and you have a meltdown and a big fit, you are in the wrong as the parent. Now, I don't care at what age. If your child is 30 and you're 50, 40 and you're 60, 50 and you're 70, as the parent, and you've lived more years, you would hope as time goes on, you will gain more common footings. You will become more and more equals, but you should always be the one leading into what is right. Because that's the natural order of how God set things up. Now, unfortunately, that is not the case often. Parents have an extremely hard time being humble to their children. That behavior you started when they were 4, 5, 6, 8, where I'm always right, you obey me no matter what, even if you know you messed up and you don't want to admit to your child that this was a big mistake, you double down. That built the relationship to where when they're 30 and you're 50, and that 30-year-old comes to you and says, hey, I don't appreciate what's going on here in our relationship. I would like to fix this. And you just do the same thing you did when they were 8. Oh, I can't believe you brought that up. I'm your mom. I don't know why you would treat me that way. I don't know why you'd say that. I don't know why would anything I do ever offend you, blah, blah, blah. Well, boom. All chance of healing and forgiveness is gone. That's impossible in that situation. You can't have any kind of healing or forgiveness or love in a situation like that. So every time I hear adults of grown children who don't get along putting all the blame on their grown children for the relationship going sour, it curdles my blood. because it's exactly backwards. You were the dominant and leading person in that relationship. You're the one who grew it. You're the one who taught it. So if it went sour, it's your fault as the parent. Now, some parents, they want to blame the kid and say, well, you did this and you did that. And it's like, yeah, the kid behaved that way. They were teenagers and you were in your 30s. But you're trying to hold this kid up to the standard of what a mature adult should do, and then blame them for not doing it right. That's on you as the grown adult to do right. But this is not to run on people who have made mistakes. Mistakes are forgivable. If you are accountable for yourself, you admit you're wrong and you apologize in humbleness. If you apologize in pride, forget it. An example of that would be like, well, I said I'm sorry. Why don't you just forgive me now? Get over it. Well, if you say something like that, your mind ain't in the right place and you didn't mean your apology. Your apology has to come in all humbleness. And if you really mess things up, you might apologize and not receive forgiveness. And if you know you really did wrong, you have to accept that in all humbleness. You have to accept the fact that I messed this up so bad, this person does not want to give me forgiveness. If you really screwed up, you do not have the right to demand forgiveness. You can use the Bible and say, God says you're supposed to forgive me. You're being prideful. God says you're supposed to ask for forgiveness and apologize. And when we read the Bible, we need to remember that we need to concentrate more on what God told us as individuals to do. But the more we focus on other people and say, you're not doing what God told you to do, the more you're going to get it all backwards. You focus on yourself, you do what's right to the best of your ability, and then you leave the rest of it up to God and the other person. Now you're like, I did what's right, why won't you do what's right? Good luck with that. That don't work out. That was another point there I was going to try to make, but it passed me by. So, it's just something I wanted to talk about because you see it a lot. It's extremely destructive to the person behaving badly and to the person who has the bad behavior done to them. So, these stories that I give is not to smash people down. It's to try to illustrate a point that you can look at these problems from a different angle possibly and find some healing or resolution to a problem. All behavior is forgivable with accountability and an apology. And no bad behavior should be forgiven without accountability and an apology. You can let it go so that you don't become bitter, but it is impossible to forgive a person who has not taken accountability for the bad behavior and has not apologized. Said it. I hope you all have a God-blessed day. And anybody who might get angry feelings hearing this, why don't you first study on it and think about it for a while before you pop off in anger? I know how it is on Facebook. You're not face to face. It's really easy just to pop off the first thing that comes to mind, which is often not the best thing to say. So, I really hope you all have a God blessed day. There's that one person out there at least who's going to take this to heart. This video is for you.